Hello and welcome to Hibs Talk. I'm your host as always, Gav. Joining me today are the two Stuarts, Papa Stu.
Hi guys.
And Stuart.
Hi Gav, how we doing, boys?
Good. How are you guys getting on?
Aye, not too bad, thanks, mate. So surviving the warmth down here, but looking forward to it. Looking forward to it tonight. Been a while since I've been on the pod.
Yeah, aye, too busy with Is It Fast to bother pandering with us. Papa Stu, how
I've
you
not forgot my roots. That's fine.
Papa Stu, how are you getting on?
Aye, fine. Same as Stuart. Rather hot. This is it's unbelievable for Scotland. You know, we've just spoke about it off air. It's probably never rained here for a couple of weeks now. So but we're thinking we're getting a thunderstorm coming up. So no, that's the thing about the weather, guys, is see when it's like really nice like this. I hate when it breaks because I like what about and at the office. But yeah, so it's good.
I am getting bored of applying factor 50 3 times a day, so I am ready for the rain. Yeah. Although I forgot it today though, so maybe need some after sun today. So. So we are live on twitch.tv and YouTube as we are every Monday at 7 p.m. But so thank you to everyone who's joining us live. Get your questions and comments in. We'll sort of go through them. And thank you to everyone who's joined listening as a podcast. As always, make sure you subscribe on your podcast player of preference. Busy show today. We have got a lot to talk about, a lot of news to talk about, signings, new contracts for managers, new appointments in places, and yeah, busy show. So let's get started with some news. So I've got the story here, so I'll load it up here. 2 seconds if you bear with me. So yes, we'll look to finally be getting a replacement for Leanne Dempster. Hibs are set to appoint Norwich City man Ben Kensell on the and he's on the verge of taking up that role. Ron Gordon has been looking out for the replacement since Leanne Dempster left last November after 6 years in Leith. So I mean, Papa Stu, it seems to be quite a high caliber appointment. I mean, the guy's got been the CEO at Norwich whilst they've been in the Premier League and the Championship. It's high caliber appointment.
Yeah, and he's at Arsenal as well for 6 years. And then Charlton, and then on to Norwich City. But also, when it was even the news I was reading, they're saying that he's very, very good and close to the fans, which is actually quite good because Leanne was like that, and before Leanne, we've probably had guys that just didn't involve with us. Whereas if this guy's like Leanne and he's hands-on and wants to speak to us, that's better for us. And the road training centre, it's good, Gav, because he'll be wanting to talk to you and guys like you. So, and it'll keep us up to date.
Yeah. I mean, like I said,
I'll teach my lesson straight away, needing to talk to Gav. But Stu's absolutely correct in what he said there. The information that's coming through from so far all seems to be very positive. The appointment at Arsenal, Charlton, and the couple of roles that he's had at Norwich all have the word commercial in it, which is brilliant. Again, it just kind of falls into the mold that we seem to be getting with Ron. He kind of understands that it's all about getting funds in from other places as well. But no, it seems like the guy's up for a new challenge, leaving a Premier League club to come to us. But that's got to be exciting. We must have sold him as much as he sold us. So yeah, just as Hibs 1991 said on the chat, great appointment on paper. I think it's all good and positive.
Yeah, aye, really exciting on paper. I mean, it's like I say, it's one that. Well, you hit the nail on the head perfectly. We must have sold them on it. Like I say, in the report, it sort of said, Stuart, about November, Leanne left. It has been a while to get a replacement. Are you glad Hibs didn't rush it, though?
Yeah, very much so. There was obviously chat coming in that it was going to be Ron Gordon's son coming as part of that. I'm never a big fan of the whole kind of nepotism side of things. Even if he is the best person for the job, that cloud's always going to hang over somebody, whatever company or role it is. and also getting somebody in that understands football, understands. I'm going to say the British game, but from there, we've discussed in the podcast about Scottish football still in the dark ages when it comes to a lot of stuff with regards to football. So getting somebody who has done it at a very good level down south incoming, for me, this is a bit more of an exciting appointment than Celtic going for the SRU man. Simply because he's not changing sport and selling SRU, yeah, it's the second national game. Selling corporate for rugby is like shooting fish in a barrel. That's not going to be tough. This guy knows that what it's like to compete against bigger boys, but still in a recognised marketplace with being at Norwich. So no, I think it's a really good one for us.
Yeah, really, really excited by him. Still to be confirmed, but yeah, exciting nonetheless. And hopefully try and hear a bit from him from on our point of view in the coming weeks. Just on it, Grant Holt, obviously a former Hibby, did say, "Well, I hope this is true for Hibernian. Fantastic guy, and I'm amazing at what he does. Worked with him for 5 years at Norwich. This could be the signing of the summer." So yeah, big words from former Hibby Grant Holt there.
That's what I was going to say, Gav, just now when Stuart was talking. This is like probably a big player signing for Hibs, say a centre mid who has played at a top level. He's coming into the management side and he's been at a top level. So he's someone higher than the expectation we could have. So Stuart says, I echo everything he says. This is probably one of the best signings in the summer for us.
Yeah, really excited by it. And another sort of signing we've made, I guess, this one has been confirmed. This was last week, so we'll not go into this too much, but Jack Ross signing the new deal, staying with the club until 2024. Papa Sue, your reactions when you heard he'd signed the new deal?
Yeah, good. I always think of the worst scenario is he signed it because there's people sniffing about maybe wanting to take him away. So Hibs are saying, right, we want you in another deal. So if you do go, we're wanting money. So yes, I'm happy. You know, a lot of people, it was mixed emotions that people were saying that Jack Ross signed a deal or we're not happy because they're idiots out there that support our club, like other clubs as well, wanting his head to lose 2 games. But, you know, you've got to look at the big picture, what Jack Rossi's done since he's came in, and his signings as well. You know, he's quite shrewd in the marketplace. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that. And if he does go, you know, if someone comes in from say next season, we'll get money for him.
Yeah, I mean, Stuart, to me, I'm sure I sort of said something similar at the end of the podcast last week. I see the only way I see him leaving is if somebody poaching him. So it's great to get him tied down to kind of worst case scenario, in my opinion, he does go, we're going to get more money.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a few people in the chat coming and defended him. Absolutely, Charlie Branks saying keyboard warriors out there on Twitter raging at the Jack Ross new deal. Ian Miller saying he's a great manager. Got to agree with the two lads there as well for it. I think Jack Ross was probably a bit of a victim of lockdown frustration. When we didn't all have a lot going on in our lives, we were all feeling it a little bit. So all of a sudden, maybe, yeah, the style of football did leave a bit to be desired sometimes. We do have the Hibernian style of play that we've got in our mindset that we all want to see. Sometimes that's not the way that Jack Ross sets us up. But more often than not, he gets us the result that we need. The league table last season didn't lie. There was big improvements across the piece. Yeah, a couple of final hurdles, maybe not crossed over that we wanted to see for obvious reasons, but definitely everything in the right direction. And he seems to have a great relationship with Ron Gordon, Graham Maffei. So we're building something here, guys. Easter Road wasn't built in a day. There you go.
Yeah, like I said, I made my point last week. I'm sure we got asked as a question from one of the listeners, and I sort of said I see him here for a long time, unless somebody comes and poaches him. So really pleased with this news. Think he's building something more long term. So yeah, really pleased with that. And so I guess the one of the sort of final bits of news is 2,000 Highbees for Sunday. Obviously, just great to see the fact that there is going to be away fans. I was kind of one of the ones thinking, away fans will be one of the last things to come back, but no, away fans back. 2,000 Hibs fans. I think the tickets are still on sale just now. And I can see, I think Ben Banks from Not the Old Firm summed it up brilliantly. He put with 4,500 home fans permitted to attend Sunday's game, it means attendance could be 6,500. The last time the two teams met in front of fans at Fir Park, January 2020, the attendance was 5,767. So, I mean, I'd imagine first game back, everyone's eager to get back. It probably should hit that 6,500. But sure, I mean, it's going to feel like more normal football again, isn't it? It's seen 2,000 Highbees back away on the road.
Yeah, it's fantastic. We always take a great away support, even as it is. We're going to make it loud. It's going to be a big occasion. It's always good a trip to Fir Park. I've always got a lot of time for Motherwell away. It's a great one to go on the supporters bus to. The big supporters bar that they've got just played the stadium's a good one. So yeah, no reason why we can't get a bit of sunshine and hopefully enjoy ourselves out there as well.
Yeah, Papa Stu, I'm going to come to you in a minute when talking about fans, because I know you were at the Santa Coloma game, so I'll come to you in a minute when we're talking about that game. So I guess the final bit of news would be that Chris Muller has signed a pre-contract, but towards the end of the show, I'm going to put in pre-recorded clips. I spoke earlier on today to Ed and Gavin, who both do two Orlando City podcasts, so we'll get their views on what kind of player we're getting from Chris. And a couple other bits towards the end of the show, so stay tuned for that. So, as this episode is kind of called, the main thing we're going to kick this off today is a season preview. The season preview, that format, we actually got contacted by 442 about 6 weeks ago now, and I sort of filled out the season preview thing. So I'm actually just going to steal their questions. If you want to hear my views on this, you can. I believe the new edition comes out tomorrow. They're not paying me to say that, but I'm in a magazine, 442. I'm really excited by it. So go buy the magazine and read my thoughts on it. Imagine if they forget to print it. That would be embarrassing. Apparently comes out tomorrow. Hopefully I don't have egg in my face. So I've taken some of their questions and I'm going to put it to the two Stuarts.
You know what? This week it's 442. Last week it was your letter in Asian babes. Gav, you're just all over the media. It's fantastic.
Yeah, so I did send you these at very late notice. I think it was about 6:30. Thanks. No surprise, I wasn't organised. So, Papa Stu, come to yourself first. The first question is: last season was. What's your kind of thoughts on last season?
Well, last season, to be honest, Gav, last season, a bleak year was just. I can't remember much about it. Last year, just the COVID.
Says the guy that built a bar.
Well, the only things that come up is the semi-final, and that was a massive letdown in both times. You were in here with the guys in the bar for nil. Built it up. It was brilliant. What a day, and we got let down. And the Hearts game is semi-final. I'm sorry to be negative, but this is the only thing that I can think of last season, and it was the Hearts game. The players let us down, and this is what I want this season. Because the other question that you've got, and I'll bring into that, is I'm looking forward and I'm wanting the player to respond to these two games. Forget about the rest of the season. We did well in the league, but in these two big matches, they never turned up, and they've got to start turning up, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
Stuart, I think a lot of Hibs fans are like Papa Stu, and when they look back at last season, they do concentrate, understandably, on the cup disappointments, going into those games as favourites and not winning them 3 times. The 2 times against St Johnstone and the semi-final against Hearts. Are you able to kind of look back and kind of reminisce on the league form as well, or did those kind of stick out for you?
No, I think Stu and other Hibs fans have definitely got a right point. It's the missed opportunities. There isn't quite often in Scottish football terms Celtic were obviously having a very poor season. Rangers were very much concentrating on the league and in Europe. So there was a real opportunity for us to pick up some silverware, and we just kind of let ourselves down on that one. I'm not sure if it comes down to the mentality of people in the club, things like that. It's something that Jack Ross definitely does have to address. But there were still a lot of positives to take away from being in the league this year, getting the better, okay, of a poor Aberdeen team. But what they've done this window so far, nothing scares me about them. I think we can still get the better of them this year. St Johnstone are not going to be as strong. They are going to get absolutely vultured by any kind of half decent Scottish or English League One or Championship side for half their players. And yeah, I think the question mark's still out there for Celtic as well, but we seem to have strengthened with youth and in exciting areas as well. There's still a few irons in the fire for us there, but I think it's something that we can definitely be looking forward to. But sorry, not really answering your question. Looking back, there were some great results and performances, but we just kind of got about our business last year. And I think that's what maybe makes the disappointing results of the cup stand out a bit more. Yeah, there were times where we were expected to beat Hamilton. Yeah, we went out and beat them 2-0. That's great. Yeah, job's done. We move on to next week. And it was just pretty methodical at times last year without the flair that we sometimes need a little bit of oomph for.
I have to say, I think the flair started to come towards the end of the season. I was really impressed with the run from early March, or late February to the end of the season. I thought we were playing better football and very consistent in terms of results. And in terms of big games, I know Aberdeen weren't that great, but the Aberdeen result was a massive result for me. Going up there, winning at Pittodrie, that one stands out to me as one of the performances of the season. So like I say, I think it's kind of, on adding on to that, I try to be more positive. I'm looking into the positives from the league and applying that, keeping that consistency going, but also adding to that in the cups. But yeah, there's big question marks off that. No, it's fine.
It was just these couple catches. All the rest of that I was happy. I was happy.
They were the biggest games of the season. It's understandable why they're going to stand out.
Yeah. The thing is, we could have had a fantastic season. Just like going back to 2016, we could have done the double. But we never, last season, we could have came away with a trophy. Out of nothing. And that's been so. Yeah, that was out of last season. I was happy, more than happy.
So let's say, we'll kind of start doing a couple of these sort of more quick answers, and then we'll kind of delve into a few of them. So this is a quick answer for yourself, Stuart. The big talking point amongst fans this summer is
probably looking at who's going to be centre back for us, or the centre back defence pairings.
Yeah. Aye. Papa Stu, who would you say, what was you say is the big talking point this summer from Hibs fans?
Scott Allen. We're all talking about him because he's like a new signing. And if he performs and gets to perform, not like I know that Jack Ross is looking after. If he gets to perform to his original best, we've got some player there, and it's like a new signing.
Yeah, Paul Hanlon talking to the papers today, or I might have been talking to after the game and talking to the Sunday papers, was talking about how Scott Allen's been like a new signing and how he's a bit unsure whether we would see the same, and he's been so impressed with him in training. So really excited about what Scott Allen can do this season. Stuart, I'll start with yourself on this one. I really missed talking about going to the matches. What have you missed?
The simple things in life, really, that we've all taken for granted. Meeting up with my dad, going to the Four in Hand. I think I'm still going to miss that, to be fair. But just kind of all the guys that I sit next to in the West Stand, great group of guys. The simple things, but yeah, it's the camaraderie that football brings.
Papa Stu, what have you missed the most about going to the games?
Same again, just going to the match, and you know what? The hairs in the back of my neck stood up when they came running out the tunnel. on Thursday there. And it was weird because I went to Taylor, my lad, and we just, well, as you know, you just got your tickets, your seats, random seats, and I was right next door to Craig Bleacher, one of the boys, so it was weird. Like, his man, what number it was, his man, number went, it's there, next to the door to me. So it's like, I went there and it was good with a wee chat, and if we were allowed to, we could have came out and went into the food bit and had a wee chat with Dave and Steve and all the guys, and that's what that's what's about. It's about camaraderie, getting to the match, having a pint and talking about what's going to happen, and then if it doesn't happen, what everybody's moaning in the pub, but half an hour later you're back to normality, and that's what football's all about.
Next question here is Stuart, our most underrated player is.
Oh, that's a good one. I'm going to go for Paul McGinn.
Good one, yeah. Vice captain now, but yeah, definitely. I would say understand that. Papa Stu, most underrated player.
I'm glad he didn't pick. I was going to pick. Right, Gogic. I think Gogic gets it tough sometimes, but he strolled it on Thursday. He was going to be better on Thursday, and like they were all good. But I thought Gogic done his job. Never got involved with the ref. Didn't he never went in hard and won hard, fair and square. I think the guy's really good at the job that we need. So that's Gogic.
Look out for a young player who could break through this season. So who start with yourself? Who should we look out for?
Oh, tough one. Would like to see Bradley coming through a little bit more. But yeah, I'll go say Bradley.
Papa Stu?
Cormac? No?
Yeah, no, that's interesting, yeah.
No,
I think Cormac's a bit old now, you know?
I'll be honest, I was like, who is that? Oh, yeah, hi.
I was waiting for you now, I know that. No, I don't know. I've never really seen enough of the young boys playing, and that's so I can't really, I would only have to go and watch them playing the under 23s or whatever it is they're playing, the reserves, whatever you want to call it, to actually say a young person. I'll stick my neck out and say Dabrowski, because if Macy gets injured, Dabrowski, I really like that lad. He is one of these laddies that is full of himself, which he's got to be. He's been a goalkeeper. He's always like he got interviewed on the Hibs TV, and he was that guy for his age. It looks as if he's been. So I'll say Dabrowski.
Yeah, very impressive against Arsenal when he came on.
Funny, I was about to say that. I sat and watched the Arsenal game with an Arsenal pal of mine, and he thought Dabrowski was the first choice keeper. Okay, maybe easy to say that with a free kick save and the penalty save, but yeah, he was impressed with him watching as a kind of a neutral with his head in his hands.
Yeah, definitely didn't look out of place. And if something does happen, or if the Browns get the cup games, I will not panic at all. But really, quite excited to see him going forward. And speaking of youngsters, Alan Anderson has asked here on YouTube, and when is Gullen going to get a bloody chance? Yeah, I mean, we're saying we're sort of a striker. I mean, he's not really been involved in much preseason. Do you see him going out on loan again? And if so, what's the point in having him?
What age does he get? Roughly
22, I think.
Yeah, 22, 23. So I had in my head. Yeah.
He shouldn't be going on. He's too old. You might say 22. He's too old for going on. If he's going to break through, he's going to break through this season, because he'll be another Ollie Shaw if he doesn't get a chance. He's got to get a chance. If he doesn't get a chance, sell him. Because it's not good for a 22-year-old to get put in loan. If I was 22, think of yourself. you've been with the club for probably 6-8 years, and you're not getting a chance. Andy, who just asked the question, is right. He should be given a chance. But there again, you're maybe we're getting the guy in from America. So if we're bringing him in, is he away in the pecking order again? So
yeah, probably. I can see Reedy saying he'll be away at some point, and Kenny saying I can see Gullen getting moved on. So yeah, a few people starting agreeing with you there. So save the date for key fixture and why. What's the Stuart, starting with yourself? What date are you got marks in your calendar? Red circles, 3 underlines.
The easiest one for that is who's at home closest to my birthday and what's the date of the New Year Derby. We're at home for the New Year Derby. Mum, I'm staying with you this year at Christmas. Lucky you. That's why.
Papa Stu, what fixture are you? I mean, I know you kind of touched on this earlier on, but what fixture are you looking forward to?
Stuart's ma, I'm coming to say as well. I'm coming.
Yay.
No, it has to be the Hearts. We've missed playing them. And you always need a derby. And to play Hearts, it's just brilliant. It's a business. And hopefully we can get into the pubs so we can go and enjoy ourselves. And I just go New Year. That's one for me is Hearts.
Aye. I think that, and like I said, you touched on it earlier on the St Johnstone game as well. I think that would be an interesting one to see how St Johnstone had our number last season. No two ways about it. The only time we beat them, said this before, was a Malin penalty. So in the last minute, it probably wasn't even a penalty. So they really had the better of us over 6 games last season. We really need to, 5 games because we did win that one game, but we really need to rectify that this season. So it'd be, I think, our record against St Johnstone is one to kind of keep an eye out for as well, and the games against them. And our key player will be and why. Stuart, starting with yourself.
Oh, easy. Cal McGuinness. I've been shouting on the podcast. Cal McGuinness is going to come through. He's going to come good. He'll prove the doubters wrong for me. Yep, he's going to be our man this year.
Papa Stu? Key player?
Because if he plays the way he can and we keep him fit, there's probably one or two, there's going to be 2 players that'll love him being on form, and it'll be Kevin Nisbet and Martin Boyle. Forward between the back 2 and the balls that he put through, and with McGuinness being there as well, because he's pushed Joe Newell a wee bit after coming on.
Interesting.
Thursday. Yeah, so I think that, because I think there's indoors, and just think about wee things that can happen in your life, and Joe Newell got sent off for a reason. McGuinness came on. We were all going, that was a bit weird, taking off Allen and putting on McGuinness at that time. But I tell you, he came on and run the show when he came on.
Aye.
And I think Joe Newell will be tough. If he plays well on Thursday against this game, I just think that Joe Newell will have to get back in the team.
All right, we'll come back onto the Santa Coloma game in a minute, but I understand what you're saying. Done really well when he came on. So, final question from the season preview is, where will we finish in the league? Stuart?
Yep. Once again, I'm going to go best of the rest. We're going to get third.
Papa Stu, can we do it after doing it for the first time in 15 years? Can we do it 2 years in a row?
I hope so, Gav, but I think we'll be fighting with Aberdeen and Celtic. I'm going to stick my neck out because I think I've seen Celtic on the TV and gosh. And you know what?
Yeah.
We always say that Hearts always get the big teams when they're playing shit, and they've got Celtic in that League Cup. And I tell you, if
first
Celtic,
game of the season.
I'm the first. They always get them. Hearts always get teams when they're playing rubbish. And I tell you, Celtic honestly. I just think I think it'll be Celtic Aberdeen will be fighting for sort of third position.
Yeah.
Aberdeen's got a good few signings in there. They're playing well. So I took 5 off of that European team. So yeah, I think it'll be. I'd love to be third, Gav, but I think we'll be fighting with Aberdeen, Celtic.
Yeah. Well, like I say, if you want to hear what I think, we're going to finish amongst the rest of those questions. 442 tomorrow.
I was just going to ask.
Fingers crossed. I will be so egg in the face if they somehow don't print it. I done it a few years back, and I think they put his talk rather than Hibs talk. So fingers crossed they print the name right this time. But yeah, should be in that tomorrow. So, Stuart mentioned it there. Let's have a chat about the Hibs 3, Santa Coloma 0. Let's have a chat about that game. I know it was a few days ago, so we'll kind of fire through this. But I mean, let's start with the biggest talking point coming out of it. Was that the worst refereeing performance at Easter Road ever? Papa Stu.
It was absolutely embarrassing. That boy should have been subbed. I don't know, that could have been the first time he's been subbed, but it could have been the fourth official could have put the board up and said, for ref, get off, because the boy was humming a fucker. Sorry, swearing, but that boy was absolutely diabolical. He was honking.
Aye. I mean, I know there's a lot more than this talking points, but I've got 4 talking points to kind of rattle through. Let's get started with the obvious one, the Newell sending off. Stuart, your thoughts on the challenge?
Yeah, well, luckily / unluckily, I wasn't actually at the game, but I was able to follow it online. My wife was almost insisting that I pay attention to her anniversary. Come on, Hibs are in Europe, love. Thankfully, she doesn't listen to Hibs talk. Was it ever in doubt, Papa Stu? Come on, let's be fair. But being able to see the replay online sent a quick message to my dad and a buddy who was in the stadium saying I knew they were over the other side at the east, so not getting the best view of it. Absolutely shocking decision. He slides in to try and block the clearance. Nowhere near the defender. He goes down screaming like a sack of tatties and totally cons the ref. That's it.
Yeah, completely cons the ref. I mean, and Papa Stu there was the one in the second half where Boyle's out on the left wing, defender comes in, trailing leg, goes through Boyle's left ankle, and there's no sending off for it. To me, it's a clear send off. Was that one worse, or was the Newell one worse?
No, I think it was definitely worse because the guy made contact. Reminded me when that guy done that. That reminded me when John Brownlee got his leg broken, just up a wee bit in the halfway line on that same side years ago against East Fife. And I thought it was I didn't think Boyle was getting up. And I know he does put the pattern on sometimes, but you don't know when he is, really done injured. But that was a bad tackle. That's straight red. And I'm sure it was number 2 who did get sent, and that was the number 2 that knew that.
They conned the referee. Yeah, aye.
So
there was one as well. So on you go.
No, I'm just on you go. No.
I was just gonna say. I mean, and there was the one as well where Boyle was through on goal, last man, and it is kind of like a tang in the legs. But to me, the foul comes for the boy, and they go down, and the referee gives a free kick to them. So he's saying that Boyle's dived or Boyle's fouled. Boyle's on a booking. To me, he's either got to send off Boyle or he's got to send off the boy, and he shits it. And does he send off either?
It was having a nightmare, Gav, and I was in line with that because I was on the 18 box going down in the east, and it was definitely it was off because he pulled Boyle down, and I reckon how he got it the other way. I think he just blew his whistle and just put his hands wherever he thought. The guy, honestly, I've never
Ooh.
he was like,
Aye,
what will give?
just spun round and see which way he finished.
Oh, he was bad. He was bad.
And then there was the one on Boyle, which, like you say, the boy did get the second yellow card. Quite a response from the fans when he got sent off. It was great to see. Definitely, I mean, him and the referee.
Though, come on.
Aye,
The
him and the
pantomime
referee
villain.
with them. Yeah, massively. The two of them were fighting for the role of the pantomime villain. But I mean, we mentioned fans. Papa, so you mentioned about it being there with your laddie and the goosebumps. I mean, how was it to see the teams come out and to see your team in person again?
It was actually this because we've never been in that position before, and because we've never been there for a year and a half, 2 years, whatever it is. It was weird, and I says to Taylor, I went, the hairs on the back of my neck are standing up. I seeing them coming out, and I tell you what made it a lot better was the new speaker system that we've got, and the new guy that was talking through the mic, him that was like presenting the whole thing. I thought
Same boy, just sounds different because of the PA system.
I think he's been told to do things because he's like a American boxing promoter. You know,
there was a couple of points where he kind of let's go. Like, he's kind of a bit more. Yeah, he's been taught something.
And last but not least, this Martin Boyle. Like, what's going on? He's been practicing. No, I think. That was the new speaker tannoy systems are a lot better. There's more atmosphere, and I was even saying to Taylor, wait till the big speech. How good is that going to be? And if some whoever scores comes up, because I've been doing. I don't know if you've seen that, but Hibs put on Twitter that the players have been doing like what they do at Sky. They come walking out of they had the green the green backings, so whatever they're going to have behind them. So that must be coming up in the screen whenever they score a goal. So
I never even put that two and two together, but yeah, that must be.
So it's like the Rasmus Von Gogh. Eyes. So I would imagine they'll be using the players when introduced, the teams get introduced. They'll be having that up on the TV, and when they score a goal, because it was a goal celebration that Martin Boyle was doing on Twitter. So that's where it came from. So because he done the wee boy for America. That's what it was like on Thursday. It was just amazing, Gav, to be back, and it was fantastic. It really was. Missed it a lot.
I was in the press bit. I was torn because I really did want to go and just buy my ticket and just. Like the press stuff's been great, but like I would be back in the East and sitting beside, Dave and Stephen and like say obviously like so Joe and Billy and stuff and Craig are a lot closer now in terms of where they sit next season. So being like, that's kind of where I want to be. But I kind of thought,
our names too. Thanks. Yeah, hi.
Yeah, you sit in the West Stand. That's why.
We're stunned.
Yeah.
So
Stuart, me, you, and Liam are sitting next to me. It's all right.
There you go, sorted.
West Boys for life. But yeah, I mean, I kind of there was an opportunity, for example, to give my reference number to Stuart's laddie, so Taylor could go and stuff. So I kind of just took the press pass, and I don't know if it was because I wasn't in amongst the noise, or because it's been so long. It's been 18 months, 500 odd days. Apart from on the Arsenal game, but like that 4,700 fans was one of the loudest reactions I've ever heard when the team came out. It was like spine tingling, just how loud it was. Just I genuinely got a fright with just the noise just engulfed the stadium. It was amazing, amazing to see.
I think it was because 1,000 97, there was 3 missing.
Yeah.
Gave the. I think that the whole of the crowd were of the same nature, that they were letting out when they walked to the tunnel, just like us and me, Craig and his lad sitting there, and everybody around us. Everyone let out enormous chat, and I think it was just adrenaline to be back there. And you know what, Gav, you've been very lucky. You've got to see most of the games. You've been, even though it's been empty, you've been there.
Yeah.
So that's the first time that we've got into that series, our players, whereas you've been watching them, albeit empty. But I think it was adrenaline. That's why it was so noisy. Imagine if there was 20,000 there.
Oh, I can't wait. I genuinely hope it's soon.
Do you think the refereeing performance helped the atmosphere as well, though? If we'd just gone about our business and won, 3-4-0, passed it around.
I don't know.
But
I mean,
the style of play,
it
helps. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was very impressed with Hibs the first 29 minutes. I was going to say 30 minutes, but 29th minute, Newell got sent off. And I thought the crowd were cheering everything, booing every missed pass or every sort of time they had the ball. And I felt that was going to carry on. I think everyone was just so pleased to be back. And the football was great. Some really nice link up. Boyle, obviously that kind of, know the best side, but Boyle was, getting past that left back time and time again, getting balls in. Well, obviously got the penalty, scored the goal, but more were coming. Scott Allen looked really lively, and then unfortunately, like I say, go down to 10 men. I think we kind of changed the approach. I mean, Stuart, McGinn spoke afterwards in the press conference about his frustration with the performance between the sending off in the 45th minute. Maybe a bit too much respect shown.
Yeah, maybe, but I also thought, kind of hearing those remarks, the players were kind of a bit shell-shocked at, my God, these are the kind of decisions we're getting against us here. They're putting in some wild stuff. They've got practically nothing to lose. You're going to be trying to look after yourself, because you've got a second league coming up. You've got the league starting in a week's time. There's no point in going hell for leather on it at that stage of the season.
Yeah. I think that he kind of spoke as well about the, Jack Ross being really good at halftime as well, calming everybody down, because I think they needed it by the sounds of things, the way they were quite flustered by, a crazy sending off like that, and the referee performance in general. So, but I mean, and he made tactical changes as well. Papa Stu, he put Boyle through the middle, went the 4-3-2, and that really benefited us, didn't it? Boyle just running at the defence, he didn't know how to cope with him.
Yeah, I was getting back to what I said earlier. I was that's why I'm not a football manager. How many's counter? What's his name? Who's the assistant manager again?
John Potter.
Aye. They two got
and Sir David Gray, first team coach. Let's not forget.
Aye. Well,
now what's he done for us lately, though?
For what they did was within first 3 minutes after that, to go and take your playmaker off, which I still could have strolled the match because they were gash. I thought we'd take 3 or 4 off at the start of the game when I seen them. They were that bad. But taking him off, I was a wee bit, But McGuinness, he put on. As I said, he strolled the match, he run the midfield, and I was surprised there. But no, and was Scott Allen come off, and he wasn't mumping and moaning, shook hands with the manager. Jack Ross had a wee quiet word, and he must have said to him, so I'm changing it. That's the reason. So, excuse me, that was another thing that I liked.
Yeah, great to see managers do that, kind of explaining why they're taking somebody off. And fair to say, McGuinness done brilliant when he came on. Kind of probably made more sense in terms of having him on. Like I say, I think I agree with what Papa Stu was saying in the sort of previous segment about, it isn't just straightforward for Neil to get back in now. Gogic seems to be the kind of one that'll be playing I guess, but maybe not. I mean, obviously we've still got Jake Doyle-Hales. It's quite exciting. I'm really excited by the midfield. 4 options we've got, kind of those 2 behind Scott Allen. The kind of 4 competing for the 2 jerseys is great to see. And yeah, like I say, I think it's great. You know, Martin Boyle. I think if you go down to 10 men, having a player like him makes it so much easier. He does so much running. He's got so much stamina for such a quick guy. Really, he was coming deep and getting the balls at times. Nisbet played some really great balls over the top to him as well and got him in a few times behind. And the last sort of talking point I've got here, Stuart, is Dre Wright. A few mumps and moans and even a couple of boos from fans after a couple of misplaced passes. It's been a tough year for everybody, a tough first season for Dre Wright. Is it fair to say that he should maybe get a bit of a fresh start from Hibs fans?
We're Hibs fans. We've always got something to moan about. And right now, our scapegoat, our anti-villain hero is Dre Wright. Yeah, I would definitely give him a fresh pass from it. He wasn't a player that I thought was going to set the heather on fire when he came to us, but he's definitely had a bit of a rough ride yet from last season. I'm willing to wipe the slate clean, but you can kind of see he's a guy short in confidence now. So this kind of stuff from the fans is, of course, going to affect him. But what a lovely little bit of involvement for Nisbet's goal.
Yeah, fantastic flick leading up to the goal, and then Gogic playing in Nisbet. You know, brilliant. I mean, Papastu, he's a player that, you know, he can play central attacking midfield. He finished the game as a second striker, supporting striker. He can play central midfield. He can play out either wing. He can play wing back as well. He's played left wing back and right wing back for us. He's maybe not going to be an 8 or 9 out of 10 performance player, but if he can do, you know, a solid job and offer that versatility in all those positions, he's surely an asset to the squad, isn't he? Especially if we can start to see the best of him.
Yeah, especially if we can play all these positions. That's what our manager, well, a club like Hibs is, you know, it goes away back to Yogi Hughes days. He had to sign one player that could play 2 or 3 positions because we can't afford the squad. So, yes, that's maybe what's keeping him at Easter Road now. As Stuart says, he's way down in confidence. He was shaking his heading, you know, looking to the heavens because he was trying things that wasn't coming off. I felt sorry for the lad. So, I tell you what, can I ask you a question? What I said on the chat at the game. Do you not think that Kevin Nisbet looked a bit leg weary at that game? Because there was times.
I saw you put this. I disagree. I think he looked lively the first 29 minutes, and then he looked a bit isolated the rest of the second half when we went down to 10 men, and he'd done a lot of running. And then when he looked, I think he looked a bit better with Boyle beside him and kind of done a different role. But maybe that's just me. What was your kind of view? Did you feel he looked a bit leggy?
Yeah, there was times and there was a couple of times he wasn't doing the doggies when there was a time when Boyle done it. And Boyle because he had went and ran, and then the defender went back again into centre, and Nisbet hadn't pushed over. He was still left over, and he was still back over in the right side. So he hadn't pushed over. I thought there was maybe he looked a wee bit leggy, and I don't know if it's because he came back a week or 2 later because he'd been away at international. I don't know what it was. I just felt that he was down. He was doubled over, breathing a wee bit heavy. And I thought, and I said to Taylor, he looks a wee bit off the pace now. And maybe that's what he said. Maybe it's because he came back from international. I don't know. However, when he played, when he scored, that's the class that we've got in that player.
Yeah,
that's the class.
Aye. Brilliant finishing. He's class finisher.
And despite what we all said last year,
you can stroll about the park and not do too much, but see when the ball comes to you and scores a goal like that, I'm happy with that. But it was just something I noticed. That was all.
Do you not think, though, that's one of the great Scottish curses of football? If a player isn't running like a headless chicken for 90 minutes, he's clearly no arse and he's not doing anything. I'm not saying that's what you're saying, Stu, but there's a lot of people out there that kind of fail that, as opposed to someone who's
Aye.
waiting for the right moment.
I would say that some people can talk like that they might never played, but I still think that there are some times that you have to go with, say, do your 2 top front players are going to run in tandem. One goes, he's got to go beside him, and front and back posts, a lot of them are going to be like that. But sometimes, there's sometimes that you can't. You've just not got. For some reason, it could be a football player, a rugby player. You've just not got that. Something's just not right. You're not breathing right, and you maybe get your second wind. And I thought that there was something wrong with him on Thursday, and I'd love to find out, because he just wasn't himself for maybe half an hour or so. But as I say, scores a goal, and then it boosted him. He started running about again. So it just.
I mean, I guess Doidge hasn't really been involved in pre-season because he was obviously out with COVID. So maybe Nisbet's had to kind of play more minutes than initially planned in terms of the pre-seasons, because he was away with Scotland and stuff, and he's not had that rested. Maybe wanted to more gently bring him in, but because Doidge was out, they've kind of had to play him more. So I don't know. Maybe there is something to that, but I'm still confident we'll see the best of him. I mean, we'll kind of quickly rattle through a brief preview for the return leg. Pretty much looks done and dusted. Anybody addressed for the game on Sunday? Stuart?
No.
No, I think we're still doing the pre-season thing with it. We're just quite lucky that these pre-season games seem to be bringing us in a lot of money, which is a good thing. We're looking at progression, looking obviously like we're more than likely going off to Croatia with it as well. So now let's just keep everybody sharp and looking forward to Sunday as well.
Yeah, so let's finish up. We've got two more bits, so let's have a quick chat about the Motherwell game before finishing up with Chris Mueller stuff. So yeah, I mean, Motherwell, 2,000 fans in attendance, or hopefully should be 2,000 Hibees in attendance, and live on Sky Sports for those that are unable to attend. A mixed start to the season for Motherwell. They lost 2-0 to Airdrieonians in the League Cup, but did manage to progress with wins against Annan, Queen of the South 3-2, so a close game, and Queen's Park beating them 1-0. But yeah, they have a massive clear out. Some of it not by choice. I mean, Declan Gallagher's have been away to Aberdeen, Charles Dunn away to St Mirren, Trevor Carson away to Dundee United, Alan Campbell away to Luton Town, Devante Cole away to Barnsley, Liam Polesworth away to Kilmarnock, Chris Long away to Crewe Alexander, who was some other names I noticed, Ross McIver away to Partick Thistle, and Seedorf away as well. So yeah, quite a few big names, big players for them in the last couple of seasons away. I mean, they have brought in Callum Slattery how you pronounce that? Slattery from Southampton. Let me know how that's pronounced. Liam Kelly, of course, formerly of Livingston. He was on loan in the second half of the last season at Motherwell. They've made that a permanent deal. Connor Shields from Queen of the South, who Papa, I knew you kind of complimented when we played them. So yeah, a few players in there, but a massive rebuild. I mean, Stuart, your thoughts on Graham Alexander and the kind of job he's got, the rebuild he's got in his hands?
Yeah, but big summer for him. But by the sound of that, he's still got a lot of gaps to fill. From quite a lot of the names that you were reading out there, these were guys that have been practically in that Motherwell team for the past 2-3 seasons as well. So it's difficult, but we potentially could still have that little bit of the European jet lag hanging over us. It's probably a good time to face them before they get all up and running as well. They're, as you correctly point out, their League Cup results haven't been as impressive despite kind of making out the group stages. So no, it's a good time to face them, and let's get our season off to a good start.
Papa Stu, would you go with the same team that started against Santa Coloma? I mean, I'm guessing you're going to say McGuinness for Newell, but other than that, would you make any other changes? Would you go with Daniel Mikhail on the left wing, for example?
No, well, it just really depends on how they are at training. If anybody's got any niggles or whatever, and of course, the some of the coaching staff will be been watching Motherwell. What you did, you round off, Christ, 2 teams for Motherwell there is left, and it's like they're going to be toiling, because that sounds as the players that they've brought in, I wouldn't say are Premiership class, and if they don't get any more players in, I would stick my neck out and say that they could be toiling this season. They could go down because they never had a good season last season, and they must have money worries. So the guys off the baseball. So I would go into that game very positive, listening to what you've just rounded off there, Gav. I would go in there full team and hopefully take a good few off of them. I feel confident now.
Dara O'Connor was the other one I missed out there from Leicester City defender who's came in as well. So that's another one they've added in. Obviously trying to replace Declan Gallagher. I mean, sure, it is tough to say in terms of the kind of strongest Hibs 11 at the moment. It's kind of tough to know because, it's still so early in the season.
Yeah, it really is. And I've been impressed with our transfer dealings so far. We've got 2 free guys coming in. Or kind of that have been in and around the club that just didn't have a lot of luck with last season, who are practically like new signings. I know it was touched on last podcast by Liam and Dave. Absolutely gutted that Cadden's not going to be there. For me, he would have been a starter as well, but there's still a lot of positivity, and yeah, hopefully we are still looking at another striker, another defender.
Yeah, it seems to be the talk in our centre back and our striker. Hopefully, I don't know if it kind of is a forward and if Muller counts as that. So we'll talk about him in a second. But let's quickly get your score predictions for the game on Sunday, Papa Stu.
I'm going to go for 3-0.
Stuart?
Solid 2-0 to the High Bees. Both goals in the first half hour.
Brilliant. I take it. So yeah, so like I say, let us know. I'll go 2-0 Hibs. Yeah, solid, effective. I mean, I know Thursday. I think there's a good chance we may actually rest a couple of players against Santa Coloma. In terms of, I don't know. I think we'll kind of at the very least we'll be taking players off the bench, kind of maximum playing 60 minutes or something, and making sure everyone's kind of good for Sunday. So yeah, I'm quite confident of a good start to the season. So yeah, so let us know your score predictions for the Motherwell game at HFC Talk. So let's finish up talking about the new signing, Chris Muller. I mean, one shirt that kind of came out of nowhere, and when we started to see it, I mean, I started to go, there's nothing in this. This lad's surely too good for us. Number 9 for Orlando, plays with Nani. Surely this isn't too good. But yeah,
it's been absolutely amazing. The last few transfer dealings that Hibs have had. They've come out of absolutely nowhere, and they've been wrapped up within a space of a couple of hours. Certainly, I think a couple of the Red Tops were talking about European destination for a hot prospect from the MLS. Believed to be Scotland, so they were immediately kind of saying, Rangers, Celtic, his transfer value on footballstatswhatever.com, valuing him out at £3 million. You're thinking, all right, fair enough. Then it started to come out, it's Hibs he's coming to. Like, good one. Didn't really believe it myself. Maybe I'm just a bit too sceptical, but wow, it came up, and I'll hold my hands up. I don't watch a lot of MLS. Instantly, I was excited that this boy's coming.
Yeah.
Hadn't heard of him 2 hours beforehand, but there you go. That's the beauty of the pre-season, isn't it?
I mean, Papa Stu, he's one that, I mean, Jack Ross, understandably, with the deal now being agreed, he's wanting him now, and understandably so.
Yep. It's like, it's like Christmas. Your mum and dad says to you, I'm going to get you a bike for Christmas. And I'm wanting it now. I can't wait. So, Jack Ross, I think we're getting him because Jack Ross he didn't want to come out and say, yeah, we're getting him. He says, we're trying to get him. Now, that's money. Now, I watched him on, what day is it?
So it was the same day as the game was on Thursday evening.
It might have been Thursday. It might have been Thursday. Honestly, it might have been Friday. I was against in New York. They were playing, I think, and I watched the first half because it kicked off at something like 1 in the morning. I watched the first half, and I was impressed. This guy is fit. He was playing right wing. He was playing in front of the back, right back when he was defending. He was in the middle. He went up to centre forward to left of the centre. Up front. He was playing right across the front three, and then he was still getting back to right back. This guy is a player, and I don't know how he managed to get him. You know, one Golden, he must get a best Alden's laddie or something. He must. He's how have we said come to Scotland, come to Hibs? I don't know. This guy's playing with Nani. He's playing with all the top players. He's probably getting good wages. How are we going? You know. So if you're listening to Ross, tell that because right. But honestly, I've seen him hand Gav, and he was very, very good.
So so I had a chat earlier on today with 2 Orlando fans to kind of get their views on what kind of player he is, their thoughts on him leaving, and a couple other points. So first, let's have a chat with Eddie from Orlando Lions Den. But first, we hear from Gavin from Orlando Soccer Journal. So I'll get this up here. Thank you for taking time to chat to us. So, like I say, a few questions to kind of get through and kind of get your feelings on it. So, I guess first one would be, how would you kind of react when you heard that Chris was leaving Orlando?
The news in some ways was kind of surprising. You know, going to Europe is something that Chris has wanted. It's been kind of out there. So at some point we were kind of expecting that was going to happen. He was coming into the season on the last year of his contract. So there was also some things had to happen at some point, whether Orlando was going to sell him or they're going to re-sign him, whether, you know, just be to a short-term deal. They kind of give themselves more time to let all this play out. And ultimately, you know, he signs his pre-contract and he's going to leave at the end of the year after his contract is over. And that itself was a bit surprising. I think all of us, we weren't really expecting that over here. Especially, you know, for Orlando, they were fielding offers for him. He was getting interest from clubs around Europe. And, you know, ultimately they're going to get, at least right now, they're going to get nothing for him. So that in itself was also a bit surprising from our end.
Yeah, you mentioned potentially, like, if he does sort of come to us in January, getting nothing for him. Do you hope he sees out the season with you?
Yeah, I think that's the hope. You know, Orlando is in their best position right now to compete for a championship this season, and having a guy like Chris obviously, you know, helps that effort. He's one of their best attacking players. You know, to be able to make that run to a cup with him would certainly be helpful. You know, if Orlando's going to get anything out of this, if they were to let him leave early, you know, it's going to be a pretty small amount of money, and the club doesn't necessarily need that. I know brand new ownership just took over this past week, ownership from the Minnesota Vikings in the NFL. So, you know, $1 billion, you know, multi-billion dollars backing them now. So the money is not going to be a big deal to Orlando City at this point. The squad has been going through a lot of a pretty tough summer, you know, to say the least. A lot of international absences at the moment, a lot of double game weeks. They just finished off a streak last night, 3 games in 8 days. They play again on Friday. Another, you know, so the schedule is really compact right now. So having obviously that depth on the squad is going to be pretty beneficial. And they're not a really deep attacking team at the moment, especially on the wings where Chris likes to play. So having him through the rest of the season would certainly be, you know, preferable for the club.
You mentioned about the 8 games, the 3 games in 8 days. Sorry, was there kind of like a view that him not in the squad last night? Was that kind of squad rotation? Do you feel, or is that maybe something Hibs fans that are kind of hoping to get him in sooner can maybe read into a bit of that? And do you think there's a bit of excitement from Hibs fans that he could be coming sooner?
Yeah, you know, the timing. Yeah, the timing of him not being in the lineup was certainly, you know, interesting. But it may have just been coincidence. I think Orlando, like I said, they played a game on Thursday and then come into that game on Sunday night on the road, playing at, you know, Yankee Stadium. You know, so they're playing in a not great road environment there. But Squad rotation, I think, is just the biggest thing for that. We didn't hear official word. The club themselves said that it was not related to the transfer or anything, that he was not there. And he was also one of several star players that was not in that game. Nani didn't make the team or didn't travel with the team. Mauricio Pereira, who is another one of Orlando's 2 designated players, was not there as well. So it was just a heavy rest day. And I think mostly just coincidence that he wasn't involved at this time.
Yeah. So I guess that one of the main things Hibs fans will be wanting to know is what kind of player can we expect to get from Chris? What kind of player is he?
He's a very talented player. He's very smart too. You know, he's a college educated kid, so he's a smart guy. He's very technically talented. He plays on the wings primarily, but you can move him around. He's a very good at making runs in from the outside, cutting inside. His spatial awareness is really gotten a lot better in the last couple of years. He's making really good passes now, really good runs. Like his growth just over the last 18 months or something has been really fascinating to watch, because he was a very inconsistent player for his first couple of years, but now he hasn't had the best season. And, you know, there's possibly many things that could be going on behind the scenes. Obviously, a move like this can be taking your head out of the game a little bit, but over the last month or so, he's been playing much better, more to what we saw last season, where he scored 10 goals, 7 assists in 22 games. He was, you know, one of their best offensive players. But Chris is a very dynamic player, and he's someone that is going to be a guy you never have to question what he's giving to the team. He's a guy that's 110% every time out, and you know he's very well liked, and everyone here is sad to see him go, but we're all very happy for him, because you know Hibs are going to get a player that is going to give his all to the club and hopefully win over a lot of people with his play on the field.
Yeah, I think there's a real lot of excitement about him. So really, really excited. And thank you for giving such a brilliant insight to him. Thanks for your time, Gavin.
Thanks, guys. Good luck.
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to talk about this. This transfer talk is always fun. It's weird being on the other side of it, but at least Orlando finally has some players other people want. So that's progress for us.
So, I mean, obviously, the pre-contract announcement came out last week. What was your kind of reaction when you heard that he was leaving?
I kind of figured he was leaving at some point. I wish we had gotten something, maybe moved him on a little sooner. But at the same time, the way MLS works with player contracts, it's a little different. We have a league that has salary caps, and when you get signed out of college, like Chris Mueller was, you have a 2-year contract with 2 option years, right? And you're being underpaid a little bit if you start producing, and that was the case with him. He's a kid who's really smart, really ambitious. He just wrote a book that just came out like last month called Bet on Yourself. So I could definitely see him, you know, wanting to further his career, go to Europe, and he's going to be 25 next month. This is probably a good time to do it. And then some players are using this not renewing tactic in order to use some more leverage to move on. If you do renew with the club, there's a chance the club doesn't move you when you want to. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. I'm happy for him. He's a good guy. He's been good for us, and he deserves a move. But at the same time, this is probably our best squad, and losing him at this time might be difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like, as a pre-contract, there has been talk of whether it could be sooner or not. Do you hope that he stays and sees out the season?
Yeah, for our sake, I definitely do. Now, it's been tough. It's been a mixed reaction. Whenever there's a player who's a fan favorite, there's going to be extremes on both sides. Some are happy for him, and some are really upset because, like, how could he? It's almost like he got dumped. You know, how could he leave us after everything he's given? But for Orlando right now, we have brought in some depth on the wings. But it's still yet to be proven. Mueller, when fit, is our starting right winger on the opposite side with Luis Nani, etc. And he was probably our best player last year, most productive player. So this league, we just had 3 matches in about 9 days for the second time this season. It's very odd the way to schedule. So you need to rotate, you need to have depth, and not having Chris Mueller for this final stretch is not going to be ideal. And it's assuming we're not going to get when you have a situation where they're in the last contract year, you're not going to get an offer that's really worth their value, right? Because why would you guys do that if you know he's going to be free in a couple months, right? So at the same time, the money we would get for him isn't going to be that much, not enough to replace someone of his caliber immediately. That's where I was saying, let's keep him for the year and just let's try to go for a trophy or get as far as we can.
You mentioned about quite a few games in a short space of time. Does that kind of lean into the squad rotation for last night's game and why he wasn't involved, or is there something that Hibs fans can look into there in terms of potentially something happening?
In my opinion, from what I can tell you, from some of the stuff I know, is the club tried very, very hard to keep him. They wanted it to keep him. His mind has been set up on leaving. From what I could tell. So if I were a Hibs fan, I would definitely consider that to be something to look into. I don't know for sure if that's why I left him off. The club is very coy. They don't say very much. They don't talk about injuries too much. We just found out when he wasn't starting for about 3 matches that he had a bit of a knock and he started the last one. We didn't know until he actually started. We were like, why is he coming off the bench so much? And we had no idea whatsoever. So the club is denying that they sat him yesterday because of that reason. But honestly, the club isn't really truthful with some of these things. So if I were you guys, it makes perfect sense. And I honestly think at this point, he might be even pushing for the move. It'll get him better acclimated to your league, to your club, to your country, and like your coach had said, right? It was Sam Jones, right? Sam Jones,
Jack Ross.
Jack Ross. Oh, I don't know. I guess Sam Jones is the person I read the article. Sorry. Jack Ross said that now that it's a public that he signed the pre-contract, you're going to use that leverage to try to get him over, right? Because that happens. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So why not? You guys got some European football. You guys finished third on the table last year, and you got some Champions League aspirations. And he's a player who's a quality player. So if I'm you guys, I'm turning the screws and hopefully maybe you overpay a little bit. It's a win-win. You guys give us a little extra because you really want him, and then he goes to where he wants, and you guys use him. That's what I'm. We'll
so
see.
I guess one of the main things Hibs fans are kind of hoping to find out is what kind of player is he? What type of winger is he?
Yeah, he's been used several ways. The problem with Orlando is we've had a lot of coaching rotation, so that's been tough on Chris, but it's also showed his versatility. Out of a rookie in college, he played almost as a 10 at times and as a second striker. They played more like a classic 4-4-2, and he was as proficient with assists as he was with goals. He had about 10 and 10 his senior year, one of the few people to do that in the nation. And then when we our first year we had him as a rookie, we had a diamond formation. He was a second striker in a diamond. Then we went kind of 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1. And he's been playing on the right mostly, but he also can play on the left. He can be isolated and be wide on the touchline and go at defenders. He's very aggressive. He's got good control, good short area touch and everything. And he's a guy who can whip in across as well. So he can be really wide, but he's been most effective when the way he was used last year with more of that kind of pocket winger. He can be good as an inverted winger. I don't know which side is better. He plays on the right more. But either way, he's going to cut inside a lot. He likes to interchange with the 10, sometimes with the 9 as well. And Nani does the same thing. If you're watching Nani play, he cuts in a lot. So there's been a lot of work in the middle of the pitch. I think he's most effective that way because he can pass and he can shoot and he's aggressive. He's also too a little more physical than people think. With MLS, our quality, technical ability isn't that high, so it's growing, but it's more of a physical league with a lot of speed. So he's a guy who doesn't mind banging a little bit. I think that'll translate well. But he's a guy who last year, I mean, he almost had between goals and assists. He almost had a goal and assist per 90. It was point every 88th minute or so. He had a goal or assist contribution. He was arguably the best winger in the league last year, and he could be used all kinds of different ways. I think so. My takeaway is he's versatile. He's got a good football IQ. He's not afraid of taking people on. And he could score and pass. The one main criticism I have of him is sometimes decision making. he could hold on to the ball a little too long. Sometimes he takes too many people on. Sometimes I would like a little more aggressiveness and decisiveness from him. We saw that last year, and then he was really difficult to contain last year when he was decisive.
So I think it's fair to say one Hibs fan should be really excited about.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, for example, if you want a guy who's going to just go out, leave it on the pitch, Chris Muter's that guy. Chris Muter's a smart guy, kind guy. He signs everything after the matches. He talks to fans. He remembers people's names. When we lost we have a playoff system. When we lost in the playoffs, I mean, he was the last to leave the pitch, just on the ground, just to bits on the ground. He completely leaves it on the pitch. He's not going to be short on effort. He's not going to be short on passion. You guys are going to like it. He's exciting because, I mean, he runs at people, and he can score headers, left foot. He'll make a hard run to the back post, and he'll score from the top of the box. He's very creative, and frankly, too, as he's getting acclimated, he's had a lot of success coming off the bench as that super sub, coming in and making a quick impact and scoring. He's bailed us out many times. That's how we got the name. We call him Cash Mueller because he's money whenever he came in. So that's his name, and also the Money Badger, which comes from his college. He went to the University of Wisconsin. Their mascot's the Badgers, so we dubbed him the Money Badger.
Brilliant. I had seen the Money Badger, and it's great to kind of hear where that came from. So thank you for that.
Yeah, one of the guys on my show, I don't know where it came from, but one of my guys in the show, I'm pretty sure he was, he really pushed that, and it's really picked up.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Eddie, for taking the time to chat to us and giving us a bit of insight on Chris.
You got it. Thanks for having me on. I hope, eventually he's going to go to you guys anyways. I wish you guys luck, and we'll be following Hibs, and Mueller's going to be one of those guys where we're always going to root for. Hopefully, the way that this transpires, there's no acrimony at the end. Everybody wins, and we're a club who hasn't had a history of recent success. So once you start getting that success, you want to keep it climbing, and I think that's a little bit fair to say for you guys, right? Where last year you guys are on an upward trajectory, so upward and onwards, beat Celtic and Rangers.
Yeah, so fantastic insight for the two guys there, Gavin and Eddie. We're just about to wrap up, a couple of minute comments to get through, but guys, your kind of reactions to hearing the comments on Chris. Stuart, start with yourself.
Yeah, very exciting. It's always a good one when the guys are coming away saying, yeah, he's exciting, he's a go-getter, he's got a lot of confidence, he's going to be good for your league. We're gutted to see him go. That's what you want to hear from somebody. So yeah, no, brilliant to have the guys from Orlando on there. I will say though, did Gavin have a green streak in his hair?
Yeah, aye.
It looked like that. Also, no, I hope he did that just for coming on our pod. That's brilliant. Gav, if you're watching, we appreciate that effort. And the second guy confusing Jack Ross with Flash Gordon was even better. Which is stunning.
I mean, Papa Stu, I mean, I don't know what I'm most excited. I mean, you hear about, like you sort of said about how he covers so much of the ground, his attitude, the way he's the last one off the pitch. He leaves everything on the pitch. He remembers everything. Like, I don't know. I'm trying not to get too excited, but everything I heard from both guys just really got me excited about him. Oh, sorry, Papa, you were muted. Start that again. You were muted there.
Sorry. Yeah, the two guys there, they're so enthusiastic, and all Americans usually are. But he was they're talking about him. And you know what? I've seen the guy play on that game that I was saying, the first 45, and I can see where they're coming from because he's so energetic. He gets all over the park. He wants to make runs, and he likes to get to the byline and get the ball over. So yeah, I'm excited about this guy. And I'm, you know what I'm thinking? I don't know where he's going to fit him in.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Aye.
Right, look at the 11 that we played. I'll forget about the back, but midfield to front, and where is he going to be playing? Who's going to drop out? That's the thing that I'm thinking, where's Jack Ross going to play him? Because the guy can play in that position, in all these positions. Who's going to drop out?
There's I mean, your stream is great. I said on Twitch saying, imagine Mueller and Boyle in the wings. So I mean, I guess that'd be Daniel Mackay missing out. But I sort of said about, imagine those two. Obviously Boyle played against Arsenal on the left wing, so him on the Boyle on the left and Mueller on the right, cutting inside. Boyle kind of going out and the three of them interchanging. I get really excited. Really pointed out, never thought I'd hear Nani spoke about on here. And somebody saying about if Mueller is in before January, is that a sign that Boyle might be going? I mean, surely we, as Hibs fans, sure we can just get excited about them both playing.
Gav, that's what I was just going to say. I was going to say, is it because Boyle is being looked at and they're wanting to have cover before he goes? Because he's sort of the type of player. He comes deep, picks the ball up, he's the one who gets to the byline. He does that the same as Boyle. Is this, can he afford to pay two wages for the same similar player? So is this the reason? Because, well, that's good. I'm happy.
Because Ron Gordon's going to finance it and we're going to win the league.
That's it.
Well, no, let's talk.
We can have nice things now. We can have them both.
We can have nice things. No, what we could do is we can look forward to saying, you know what, if we are getting group stage European competition, we are going to need this bigger squad. Otherwise, we're going to suffer the same European hangovers that any team outside of Rangers or Celtic have suffered for God knows how long. We need somebody to be able to kind of come in on a Thursday midweek, drop out so they can get somebody else in on the Sunday.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited by this one. Thanks to Eddie and Gav for their comments, and I think your stream is great. It's put well. If he does join in January, his debut will be against Hearts. Because, like I say, currently set to sign on the 1st of January, and obviously that game's on the 2nd. But hopefully we get him in sooner. The way Jack Ross is talking, very hopeful. So yeah, we'll finish up there. We've gone a bit over more than we'd sort of intended, but obviously season preview is always a big one. 2 games. We said it was a busy show at the start. Like I say, thanks again to the guys from over in Orlando getting their comments in. The Orlando soccer show, it should be called football show, but Orlando soccer show and the Orlando Lions Den. So check them out if you want to start following Orlando. Guys, you've got much planned for the rest of this evening? Stuart?
Sure.
After you, mate.
Bill, I've not got anything on. Just maybe watch about the Olympics. That's me. Can I just give a wee shout out to Kenny Fisher? You met Kenny, Gavin, on the
final, yeah.
Big shout out to him. He was slagging my shirt on he says, so there you go, Kenny. There you have a wee look at it, mate. There you go, son.
Podcast listeners, it's a very, very flowery shirt. Yeah, aye. Stuart, your plans for this evening?
Yeah, I think my wife's just doing the dinner now, which is probably getting slowly burnt, so I'll need to run. But yeah, no. Good. Well, what about yourself, Gav? What are you up to the rest of the week?
Dinner tonight, and no much plans for this week. Pretty chilled. Well, working a lot this week, but yeah, I just sort of nothing much else. Fives on Wednesday, which I'm looking forward to. Yeah,
and Thursday. Come on,
And Thursday for the game, yeah. Off on Thursday and then heading over Bar 24 for the European game. So yeah, looking forward to that. So Papa Stew's pub to watch the game with him, and hopefully Stephen and Joe, I think as well. So yeah, aye. So yeah, looking forward to that.
Hippies out there. The game kicks off at 5:30 on Thursday.
Yeah, I almost missed that. So yeah, make sure you get
so
the right time. So yes,
5:30 on Thursday. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the game. So I think, as you said earlier, you touched on Gap. I think that they'll play a strong side, hopefully to get in front, couple in front, and then they'll pull them off and just get other players on, French players, so they're happy for the Sunday. So
yeah. Aye. So, like I say, wherever you're watching the game, make sure you enjoy it. Enjoy the season kicking off on Sunday. We might have a Friday show. We're going to keep an eye on the socials at HFC Talk to see if we're getting that organised. But yeah, Thanks again, folks, and enjoy your week.
Thank you.
See you
Cheers,
guys.
everyone.